Right.
Do you have any heroes?
As I said, in my own thought is that anyone, man, woman, or child, in any war, in any conflict, wherever, in any time of past history or now, who gave their lives are heroes to me. I don't think there's one person I can honestly say is a hero. I think anyone that helps fight a war, helps during a war. I think we're all heroes, do you know? I think we're all heroes. And I'm going to cry. So can you switch it off?
Did you enjoy it?
Well, the workshop existed to try and make manifest some of the thoughts about poetic thoughts which people had begun to prepare previously after various conversations they'd had with veterans who live in the region, and which you've all cleverly brought together. There's always in these things a certain element of anxiety, even of nervousness about people, because poetry is a very primitive thing and it's a very emotional thing. And I was talking at the outset of our encounter about how it is a kind of hotline to our strong feelings. And people are therefore understandably apprehensive about making themselves vulnerable in what they write and then perhaps have to read out in front of their colleagues. But if you can manage to create a sense of everybody being in this together, but you can do fairly quickly if people are willing to be persuaded, as it were, and they were all very willing to be persuaded, extraordinary things can happen. And I was saying to you a moment ago that the most amazing thing about these operations when they work well, and it did go well today, is that people, in a very short space of time, a couple of hours, discover things about their own imaginations which they simply didn't know before, and it makes them a different person. I mean, it's as fundamental as that. It's extraordinary.
What do you want to have again?
What is the motive on there, by the way?
It's a red eagle.
Ah.
It's a red eagle. And that was the 4th Indian Division.
A soldier has got to die when he's told to, and you can't possibly tell him, I'm sending you off to die. He's got to be trained to respond to everything. You've got to somehow get obliterate his human survival instinct. And that's terrible. And armies do it in different ways, through perhaps religion, you know, if he's dying for his God. But Western armies aren't doing that. They die just because they're members of a band.
We are on a battle course in North Wales, and there were about 20 of us in 3 collapsible boats, had to row across one of the lakes in North Wales. In fact, it's called Llynogwyn. We were a bit, the party I was in my boat, were a little bit late getting aboard, and we were paddling away. And the directing staff were throwing explosives into the water, and of course they use live ammunition as well. And the boat I was in happened to float over an explosive charge in the water when it went off.
In Northern Ireland, while serving there, you have a thing called the Green Book, and it's a set of rules you have to follow before you can open fire. And when you're in a situation where you come under contact, the last thing you want to do is shout 3 warnings to somebody who's threatening the life of yourself or other people, because that's giving them the opportunity to escape. So it constantly felt like you were sent out on the streets of Northern Ireland with your hands and feet tied behind your back.
My name's Emma Strand. Explosions of the vilest violence shower such sorrow, soak straight through my soul. Profound is the most perfect of silence that resonates after war takes its toll. Outcomes outrageous, so truly unplanned. In brotherhood and bravery we fought. The language of fear we all understand, although none of us have ever been taught. As time slows down to a shuddering halt, eyes do the talking for guns cannot say. Surely it's true that it is not our fault, that one of us must die today. Peace, a gracious gift we take for granted. Naught can grow when seeds of war are planted.
John Frampton, one of the veterans. And this is children. They stood in their hundreds, surrounding our train heading north. Their faces were gaunt, unwashed, in rags. So desperately they wanted food and their families. Give one a biscuit, and he was engulfed, set upon by his fellows. We threw biscuits into the throng. Movement control officers passed through the train, taking off any who managed to scramble aboard. We, on the train, pulled away from Busan. What world was this we were entering?
In particular, thank you to the veterans and the students with whom we've been spending most of the day. And beyond them, the people who allowed this to happen in the first place, the organisers of it all. It's been, I have to say, an exceptionally interesting few hours. I've done, I mean, like Tracy herself and no doubt others in the room as well, quite a lot of workshopping of poems over the years. Indeed, my sort of day job is to run a creative writing MA course at Royal Holloway, which is part of the University of London. So I'm steeped in this sort of thing, but I don't think I've ever felt that there's been such an interesting kind of address as there has been today to a particular, well, I want to say subject, except of course it's a subject which has so many facets. War itself can be interpreted in so many different ways, as we've already heard, that it feels like more than a single subject, a lot of linked subjects. I don't think I've felt the kind of interest, the significance, the importance in quite the way that I've done today. So it's been very, well, it's been inspiring and humbling and simply fascinating. And remarkable things have been done. Remarkable encounters have been made between individuals, and equally remarkable encounters have been made by people with themselves, in my estimation of it. So it's been great. Thank you very much indeed. And I think I must say, if I were somebody who was in a position to do something about this, I would think that this was a model of something which ought to be replicated all over the place. And I hope that those of you who've been involved with it will feel the same and just go and knock on doors, and I certainly will do that myself. So really, thank you very much for letting me be involved in it, and hats off. Fantastic.